3, 2, 1, walking off the side. Oh, hello. It's common to hear failure celebrated in professional creative spaces. So if you've ever been to a creativity conference, there's always one dude who's there to talk to you about failure. And my first introduction to this was early in my 20s. I was at a sort of complicated job interview at a big ad agency in Portland, and they had a mural on the wall that said "Fail Harder." And I remember seeing that and being like, but I want this job. I don't want to fail. I would like to be hired here. And so I found the whole thing very confusing. Really quick, I know you don't know who I am. That's okay. My name's Adam J. Kurtz. Everyone calls me Adam JK. Like you, I was a kid once. Then I was a teen, which we don't have to talk about. I'm Canadian. I think that women are people, which is a weirdly controversial opinion. I was on SNL once by mistake. I love bread, and I'm the author of several illustrated books on creativity and mental health. So like, maybe I'm here to be the failure speaker. Like that actually wouldn't be a bad brand fit for me. But here's the thing about that. If failure is so great and we should fail harder and fail faster and fail stronger, fail better, you know, the Kanye remix, obviously, it really just begs the question, like, you guys, should we be bad? Like, if failure's so great, should we skip a step and just be bad? Now, my artwork is mostly idea-driven. It's these quick one-offs, very fast execution, and so what I'm saying is the focus. And I made a daily journal called One Page at a Time that is rooted around this heavy recovery topic, and my not that good illustrative work is the foundation of that book and the subsequent book, and now my entire creative career and my life. And so my work isn't perfect. I am not the best illustrator. I'm not the best graphic designer. I'm not the best social media marketer. I'm not very good. That's just true. But I am this person, and I am relentlessly this person. This is not a brand. This is not a sort of strategized brand voice that I decided to like lean into. No, this is what I'm actually like. And if this were an affectation, I would have aimed higher. Like if this was a concoction, I would have loved to have presented as cooler. That would have been cool. So let's be bad together. And I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes just sort of talking about what I mean. Part 1, be honest. Just be honest. That's the most important thing. The most important part of connecting. And I know, honestly, that some of you are just like, okay, why is this dude here at LaterCon? Now, my brand is about honesty, humor, and a little bit of darkness. It's a visual voice. My handwritten sort of pencil texture visual voice is undeniably human and immediately emotive and maybe disarming enough that it can allow me to tackle difficult topics or hard to communicate sentiments. Now, honestly, I am not subtle in any way. I just don't know how to be, and I find that simple and direct often works the best anyway. So a couple of years ago, I had to dump someone, and it was definitely the right thing for both of us at that time, but it did not feel good doing it. I had been dumped before, so I know it sucks. And I really felt like a bad person. I felt like an asshole. And so I had the idea, I'm gonna make these balloons that say, sorry, I'm such an asshole. And I posted them online, and I sold a few, and then, I don't know what happened, but the shit really blew up. And this was my first project to really take off in that way. Now, we're told to hide our feelings, especially men. We're told to hide our feelings, showing our feelings as a display of weakness, whatever, but like, I literally can't. Like, I don't have any chill. I just don't know how to be cool. Again, I wish I could do it, but I just can't seem to figure it out. And so I am always just talking about my feelings. And this is my first zine, which was called Talking About Feelings. And zines are a little like self-published sort of booklet. I printed these at home in my bedroom, and they have art and writing in them, probably made like 25. And then 2 years ago for the New Yorker, I wrote feelings on rocks. So in that 10-year span, there's not a lot of creative evolution. I continue to just be like a very unsubtle person with a lot of emotions that are plainly displayed on my face. Now, honestly, I am not an expert. I am not positioning myself as an expert who is smarter or more knowledgeable than you. And actually, I think that's often for the best because we do not all respond best to being preached at. Some of us learn in a lecture style, but many of us learn by reading, by doing. We learn in so many different ways. I think not being an expert is actually pretty great. So I don't feel bad about it. I'm not insecure about being so stupid. Sorry, I'm just making myself laugh. It is weird to self-tape in the middle of a pandemic, and just off camera, everything is so messy and ugly, like I can't even begin to tell you. Anyway, I am just processing my lived experience in the only way I know how to, which for some reason is novelty gift products and stationery. And despite writing a literal advice book, I'm just trying to get on your level. I am just trying to connect with you, literally you, as a real human person speaking to another real human person. Because we are in this whole life thing together, and it is not easy, and that has never been more obvious than right fucking now. But we're both here, and I'm not better than you. Part 2, good doesn't equal better. Perfect is not better because the quote good, technically good, award-winningly good work, good art, good writing, good content isn't always the most effective because people love bad shit. People just love bad stuff. They love it so much. Case in point, what is this? What is this? This is a joke t-shirt, and I had the idea to make this shirt late at night, and it's a commentary on the nature of appropriation in art and design, on the internet, but also the original Joy Division album art is lifted from a science textbook by the designer Peter Saville. Anyway, it's just a dumb joke. And so I quickly, I mocked it up, basically made a meme, posted it on Tumblr, and went to bed. And I woke up the next morning, and it had 5,000 reblogs. And I had multiple emails in my inbox that were like, hey man, dope shirt, like where can I cop this shirt? And I was like, it doesn't exist. But it was so popular that I went on to take pre-orders and to print a ton of them. And Peter Saville actually bought 12 for his own archives, and he called it profoundly clever in The Guardian. And I was just like, people really love bad shit. And to this day, people still purchase it at shop.adamjk.com. And note to editor, just put my website right there. I also recently made a baby version that's even worse. So I am just having fun being a dumbass. Good doesn't equal better because bad design is actually how we communicate now. A lot of things are bad and have become the new normal. What is a meme? Memes are design and communication at its most fundamental, and people connect immediately. Memes are text and image that quickly communicate a wide range of thought in a way that I think has totally changed language, probably forever. Now, good doesn't equal better because overworking can undermine trust. People, especially on the internet, don't always trust the work that's too perfect. We need a way in. We need to feel a real human element somewhere in order to connect most effectively. So it's often better to be just quick and honest and accessible and self-referential and direct and funny than to be technically flawless. Now this is one of my favorite things I've ever done as far as client work is concerned. It's literally client work for Microsoft. It's a tote bag making fun of free tote bags that you get at corporate events. And it was for a corporate event. Now, being good doesn't equal better because success is not just about talent. Success is about timing and resources and context. Success is not a single tangible goal. Success is different for everybody. Now this did not take any talent or special skills. I did not need my graphic design degree to do this. This took a marker in 10 seconds. but I tweeted it out and it somehow got noticed by Adweek and Fast Company. And so I got some of my first mainstream industry press for it. And one, that's not even fair. And two, I already had a published book at that point. And I got more press for the dumb doodle that took 10 seconds. Now this is from a few years ago. I was named one of Print Magazine's 15 under 30 new visual artists to watch, whatever. And we each were asked to pitch a couple cover designs, and I pitched several things, and I swear this was like the dumbest, quickest one, and this is the one that they wanted. And it's just me ruining a perfectly good headline with hashtags. Sorry if that's triggering for anyone who's used more than 5 hashtags in a post before. What a time to be alive. Now, part 3, nobody cares. Who cares if it's bad? Nobody cares if it's perfect. Nobody is waiting for you to fuck up. Nobody is standing by with a magnifying glass to inspect every little thing you're doing. So just make work. You can just make things to make them, and that's allowed. This is a little post-it note doodle that I did a couple years ago, and I just loved it, and it was really for me. And so I got it tattooed. Here it is on my arm. You can see it. And people saw the tattoo, and they saw the post-it, and people just loved it. And so I was like, all right. I made pins and keychains and other merch, and people loved that too. And so I kept taking it further and further, and I did a 4-foot neon sculpture. This one's installed at the Leslie Lohman Museum of LGBTQ Artwork here in New York, and auctioned off for charity. And that little post-it note was able to raise funds for an LGBTQ art museum to support other LGBTQ artists. And then I took it even further and did a series of massive, like 12-foot inflatable versions with MailChimp. We did these huge parade balloons for Atlanta Pride in 2019. And we gave out a ton of swag to young people and old people. And it was just like my little post-it note was able to continue to rep for and inspire LGBTQ creative people and LGBTQ people. And it was just like, it felt so cool. And again, this was just one little thing that I just made because I felt like making it, and it wasn't a big deal, and I didn't have to worry about it. And it's been allowed to exist and to kind of continue to thrive. Nobody cares because we scroll, and I read this on the internet, so I hope it's true, just to prove my point. We scroll an average of 5 miles of content per year. That's 5 miles of scrolling. And honestly, that sounds low. I think that I probably scroll like 10 miles of content per year because I am always on Instagram and Twitter and Tumblr and not as much Facebook, but I'm on a lot of things. And so the pressure's off, right? If people don't like your content, they just keep scrolling. You know what it's like. You see someone's post and you're like, again, with the strawberry dress, and you just keep scrolling. And you're not gonna like be so annoyed by a piece of bad content that you go and unfollow them cross-platform. It's fine. The pressure is off. You can just put a bunch of stuff on social media. You can make it and you can publish seconds later, and that's allowed, and in my opinion, it's often very fun. And sometimes people really like that quick thing that you did, and they do ask for more. Like this Nothing Matters heart, there were so many comments that were like, Adam, make this a pin. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. That's great. And then maybe you are a Webby Award nominee for your Instagram feed. And again, I want to clarify that nominee is basically a fancy loser. So I am a fancy loser of the Webby Awards. You are not special. I know that seems like in conflict with like what maybe the ethos of my work is, but you are not so special that people care about every little thing that you're doing. In fact, you're not special, and that is so liberating because we really think people are standing by waiting to catch us in a mistake, and it's like, they're not. They're busy with their own shit. And so, again, pressure's off, no big deal, it's fine. I make some nice things that people like, digital stickers for apps that you might have seen. And, you know, we have the metrics on Giphy, and I've got over 8 billion loops. 8 billion loops on my GIFs. and people enjoy them and use them to communicate with each other, and they can bring joy to people, and those are people who have no idea who I am. And I really think that people maybe have seen my work in different places and just assume that, like, you know, my work was designed in-house at Urban Outfitters or Hallmark Cards or whatever. And that's totally okay, because if I can make an art therapy journal and it's for sale at a store at the mall that is accessible to you as a teenager, and you pick up this art therapy journal and you use it to help yourself, then my work is done. And that's very fucking cool. And if you don't like my work, it's fine, because you don't know who I am, so just don't tell me about it. A lot of my work exists far beyond the original intention, the original place that it was shared or existed, and so it has the power to spread online and positively impact others. And that is just so cool and magical. But also intellectual property is a thing, and we could have a whole sidebar about all the times I've had to invoice people for stealing this particular work that I hold a registered copyright for, but it's fine. It's fine. Pulling out big picture, it's very cool that art and words can spread and affect others positively the way that they can. Devoid of context and separate from you yourself as a person, which, again, irrelevant. Nobody really cares about who's 100% the best. Nobody cares about, like, who's the world's #1 handwriting illustrator man. It's fine. We all have tools and skills. We all have access to resources and tutorials. We can all figure things out. We can all learn how to do things. And so who you are specifically is the differentiator, because nobody likes an asshole. Nobody wants to work with a jerk. So just be fucking nice. And that might be the thing that gets you a gig over someone else. A lot of my favorite creative projects are really the product of just, like, being a nice guy, having a conversation kind of with, like, the right person at the right time. And then maybe years later, the person remembers your work and you fit the brief for something and they're in a position to hire you. And they hit you up and they're like, hey, we met in 2014 and, like, do you want to design the Brooklyn Public Library bookmobiles? And, you know, you say yes, because that's so cool. So to review, we're here at the end. Honesty is the most important factor in making work that connects. Good, technically good, does not necessarily equal better, and nobody cares too much anyway. I embrace not really knowing what I'm doing at all times, and so I let myself create and share art and work as I grow. I am working on my own definition of success and then redefining success. And you get to do that too. You can define it and redefine it. You get to change your mind. You might think you know what your dream job is and then find that your dream has changed. That's okay. That's part of being a person in the world. Sometimes the most effective way to say something is not the most technically perfect way to say it. We get so caught up sometimes in the aesthetics and the direction of the whatever, and my previous take of this video where I had, like, a blue seamless paper behind me. But you know what? It's like, figure out what you're saying and then fucking say it. I wanted to use my external mic. It's right there, but the audio quality wasn't good, so we're doing AirPods, and it's fine. I hope that you are listening to the words and not analyzing, you know, all the details. Sometimes the subject is the most important thing. The content comes first. Everything else is just, like, nice to have. Now, finally, though I am not an expert, though I don't always know what I'm doing, though I don't have all the answers, though I'm not the #1 best in the world, I can absolutely guarantee you one thing. Regardless of where you are in your career, if you're in-house, if you're a full-time freelance, younger emerging artist, whether you're a writer, designer, artist, content creator, brand strategist, founder and CEO who has a team of 20, or one person doing 40 different jobs, regardless of who you are and where you're at, you will die. You are going to die, and I am going to die, and everyone's gonna die, and everyone who's out there being fucking loud in the street's gonna die. We're all gonna die. So have some fun before you die. This is my way of saying, don't sweat the small stuff. It's not a big deal. Just have fun, be okay, do a nice thing. Like, none of this really, really matters at the end of the day. Again, pull back, big picture, it's fine. And finally, things are what you make of them, so do the best that you can with whatever you've got, and that could be enough. Thanks very much.